Hello, friends. I'm 90 years old. Today I want to speak to you directly, heart to heart, especially if you're over 50. I've lived through wars, heartbreak, new beginnings, and long seasons of silence. I've laughed at weddings and cried at gravesides. I've learned the hard way that aging is not a retreat, it's a revelation. You may think life has slowed down. You may feel that society's looking past you, but I promise you this chapter might just be your most important yet. Over the next minute, I'll share the stories, lessons, and hard-earned truths from 9 decades of living, not as a lecture, but as a conversation. If you've ever felt stuck, forgotten, or unsure of what comes next, then this is for you. If you've ever wondered whether you still have something to offer, if you're searching for purpose, for joy, for connection, stay with me, because you're not too old, you're not too late, you're right on time. Let's begin. Let me start by telling you my story. Let me tell you something I've rarely said aloud. At 60, I thought the world had already taken its best shot at me. I had buried friends, I had outlived dreams. My body started whispering things my mind wasn't ready to hear, about slowing down, about limits. I remember sitting in the kitchen one winter morning, just staring out the window, wondering if the joy I once knew would ever return. But here's the twist. At 70, I learned that I was wrong. Life wasn't closing in, it was opening up. At 72, I learned to use a computer for the first time. It took me weeks to figure out email. At 75, I joined a community writing group. My hand trembled writing that first sentence. At 80, I finally visited a country I'd dreamed of since I was a boy. And the biggest surprise of all, at 84, I fell in love again. The kind of quiet, tender love that reminds you life isn't finished with you yet. At 88, I started recording my story, not because I'm special, but because I've learned something many never get to. We don't age out of purpose, we grow into it. And now at 90, I've become a walking library, a carrier of decades, of lessons, regrets, joys, and wisdom. I've made mistakes, believe me. I've been impatient, I've missed chances, but every missed opportunity turned into a message. Every scar became a sentence in the story I'm now proud to tell. That's why this matters, because you, watching this, are not behind. You're standing exactly where you're supposed to. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, old age is like everything else. To make a success of it, you've got to start young. Well, guess what? You're younger now than you'll ever be again. Let's make it count. Let's talk about what no one tells you about aging. Not the sugar-coated version, not the pity-filled one either. The truth. Society says aging is decline, that your value fades, that purpose belongs to the young. But what if they're wrong? What if aging isn't about fading, but evolving? What if this isn't the end of your story, but the most authentic chapter yet? Let me say this as clearly as I can. You are not invisible. You are not irrelevant. You are not done. You've simply become someone who sees deeper, who knows better, who feels the weight of time, but also its beauty. Most people don't know this, but your brain, even at 80, can still grow. Scientists call it neuroplasticity. It means your mind can still learn, adapt, rewire. That spark inside you, it's still alive. And here's something else they don't tell you. Studies show that people who remain socially and mentally active in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, live longer, healthier lives. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. But this isn't about just adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Maybe you've been told, act your age. I say, redefine what age means. As Henry Ford once said, anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. So let me ask you, are you willing to stay young in your spirit? Because the truth is, your body may age but your purpose doesn't retire. Age doesn't make you less valuable, it makes you more seasoned, more real, more ready. Stay active, physically and mentally. Let's start with the body, the vessel that carries your story. Here's the truth. You don't need to run marathons, you just need to move. Take a walk in the morning sun, stretch your arms in the quiet of your living room, try Tai Chi in the park, dance in the kitchen while your soup simmers. Movement isn't about speed, it's about staying in motion, like a river that refuses to run dry. And don't forget the mind. Read books that challenge your thoughts, play chess, solve puzzles, listen to music that stirs old memories, and some that make new ones. When you stop feeding your mind, it starts shrinking, but when you keep it active, it becomes your sharpest ally. Remember this, movement is life. Stillness invites decay, so don't wait for perfect health or perfect timing. Start where you are, with what you have, and move, gently, boldly, forward. Learn something new. When was the last time you felt the thrill of learning something new? Not for a grade, not for a paycheck, but for the joy of becoming more than you were yesterday. YouTube can teach you to play the piano. Coursera can introduce you to ancient philosophy. Local community centers are filled with classes, from watercolor painting to digital photography. Start small, 10 minutes a day. It's not about being perfect, it's about being curious. Because every new skill you try, no matter how simple, is a declaration. I'm still growing. Maya Angelou once said, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So use it. Let yourself be a beginner again. Give your soul a playground. Connect with others' narrator voice. We were not built to live alone, not in our hearts, not in our memories, but loneliness, especially after 50, is something many are too proud to speak about. Don't be proud, be brave. Call an old friend, join a walking group, sign up to volunteer at a library or hospital. Mentor a young person who needs the wisdom you carry. The power of connection, real soul-level connection, cannot be overstated. It's not just good for the heart, it's good for the brain, for the spirit, for the will to wake up tomorrow. Intergenerational friendships are a hidden treasure. The youth need our patience. We need their energy. Loneliness is not solved by company, it's solved by connection. So take the risk, show up, find your people, or let them find you. Build legacy, not regret. Let me ask you something. If today were your last day, what would you wish you'd shared? Not your money, not your possessions, your story. Write your memoir, record your voice, share your family history with your grandchildren. Don't wait to become a memory. Shape the memory. Plant trees you'll never sit under. Speak wisdom that echoes past your own life. Because you're not just living, you're becoming someone's ancestor. And every choice you make today writes a line in that story. Do it with intention, do it with heart, and above all, do it with the quiet knowledge that it is not too late. Sometimes we don't believe in change until we see it. So let me introduce you to a few extraordinary people, not celebrities, not gurus, just men and women like you, people who decided, it's not too late. Clara, 68 years old, the reluctant painter turned gallery artist. Clara had never held a paintbrush in her life, not really. She raised 3 children, ran a household, buried a husband. She gave everything to everyone else. At 65, she walked into a community center just to get out of the house. She picked up a brush and never put it down again. 3 years later, Clara's artwork hangs in a small gallery downtown. She says, I didn't know I had something left to say. Turns out I had a lot. Clara reminds us, your masterpiece might still be waiting inside you. David, 73 years old, the late bloomer entrepreneur. David retired early, thinking peace and quiet was the reward. But after 3 months of golf and Netflix, he felt something gnawing, boredom, dressed up as rest. One day he started fixing up old lawnmowers and selling them online. Today he owns a thriving repair business and mentors local teens in mechanical trades. David says,
I didn't need money. I needed purpose. Retirement isn't an ending. It's a blank page. Ruth, 84 years old, the reconnected grandmother. Ruth had been estranged from her son for over a decade. Pride, misunderstanding, the weight of old wounds. But at 82 she said, I want to fix what I can while I still have time. She wrote him a letter, then another, and another. Last year they spent Christmas together for the first time in 14 years. Ruth held her grandchild for the very first time. She said, that one hug healed more than I thought possible. Forgiveness isn't a weakness, it's freedom. Miguel, 90 years old, the student at 90, Miguel enrolled in an online university course in ancient history. He said, I've always wanted to study, but life got in the way. Now he logs on each morning with a fresh cup of coffee and a smile. His classmates, mostly 20-somethings, but Miguel isn't there to impress. He's there to learn. He's living proof that growth never expires. Now it's your turn. What story are you writing right now? Have you started something new after 50? Rekindled a lost passion? Forgiven someone? Forgiven yourself? Drop it in the comments below. You never know who you might inspire. We're not here just to watch. We're here to witness each other and remind one another. It's not too late. Every day we are spoken to by the world, and too often it tells us, you're too old, you've missed your chance, you should slow down, fade away, step aside. But not here, not now, because here we speak something different, something sacred, something true. These are your affirmations. Let them settle in your heart. Say them softly or boldly, but say them until your soul believes them. I am not behind. I am right on time for my purpose. There is no clock that measures the soul. What you're meant to do will unfold at your pace, not the world's. My experience is my greatest asset. You carry decades of wisdom, scars, triumphs, and stories. Let that be your power, not your pause. I have the power to begin again, at any age. Starting over isn't failure, it's faith. Faith that something beautiful can still grow from where you stand. Each day I choose courage over comfort. You've faced storms before. Now let courage become your new rhythm. Not fear, not doubt. I'm never too old to learn, love or laugh. The heart doesn't wrinkle, the mind doesn't rust. Not if we keep it open, soft, curious. These aren't just words, they are seeds. Water them every morning, speak them aloud, because the world may whisper doubt, but you must shout back with truth. And the truth is, it's not too late. If you've lived long enough, you've carried fear. And if you've carried fear, you've asked questions in the quiet, questions no one else can hear. But I've heard them too, because I've asked them, at 50, at 60, at 7, even now, at 9. And so today, let's face those shadows, one by one. What if I'm too tired? Then rest, not forever, just enough. You are not weak because you need to catch your breath. You are human. The body speaks, and listening is strength, not surrender. Rest, then rise again. You've done harder things than this. You just forgot. What if I fail? Then you've lived, because failure means motion. It means courage. It means you were in the arena, not on the sidelines. Do you know how many people never even try? If you fall, fall forward, fall proud, and fall knowing you dared. What if no one cares? Oh, but someone does. I do. The people in this community do. You might feel invisible, but hear me. You are seen. You are not a leftover chapter. You are still a central character, and your story isn't over. Quote for impact. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Dylan Thomas, you're allowed to be afraid. You're allowed to have doubts, but you are not required to live by them. You've come too far to stop now, and just in case no one's told you recently, you still matter. You're still needed, and it is not, I repeat, not too late. By now, you've heard the stories, you've absorbed the affirmations, you've faced the doubts, but now it's time for you to step in, to be part of something bigger than yourself. This isn't just my story, it's our story. What do you want the rest of your life to feel like? Take a moment and think. How do you want the next chapter to unfold? Maybe it's a little more adventure. Maybe it's deeper connection. Or perhaps it's the courage to make a change. Whatever it is, you get to decide. Share your answer in the comments below. Let's help one another visualize the future we're stepping into. What advice would you give your 30-year-old self? Think back to a younger version of you. What wisdom would you pass on to them? Maybe it's patience, maybe it's more risk, or maybe it's learning to love yourself sooner. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear it. Drop your advice in the comments, and let's give a gift to those who are just starting their journey. Drop in the comments if you're committing to trying something new this week. Here's the challenge, friends. If you're willing to step outside your comfort zone to try one new thing, drop a star emoji in the comments. Let us know and inspire someone else to take that first step too. We're not in this alone. Together we're creating a movement of purpose, passion, and possibility. You don't just matter. You are part of something bigger than yourself. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Every comment, every story shared here builds a community of like-minded souls. People who refuse to let age define their worth, but instead define the world with their wisdom. So let's connect, let's share, let's grow. As we come to the close of this time together, let's pause and reflect. You've heard about staying active. You've heard about learning something new. You've heard about building connections. And most importantly, you've heard about never giving up on yourself. These are the building blocks of a life well lived, at any age. The truth is, the years ahead can be just as full, just as rich, just as meaningful as any that came before. You are not done. You are just beginning. It's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your year. Abraham Lincoln. So ask yourself, what will you do with your next chapter? Whatever it is, don't wait. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for permission. Start now, because it's never, ever too late. If this message spoke to you, if it ignited a spark or gave you the courage to try something new, here's what I ask you to do. Please take a moment to like this video, to share it with someone you care about, and to subscribe to our channel. Our community is growing, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Together we can support one another, share our stories, and walk through this journey of life with purpose. And finally, if no one has told you today, you matter, you are needed, you still have time, it's not too late. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do next.